G'day and welcome to my garage. I'm going to mould up, this is the back plate for the 4-jaw chuck.
Okay. I hope that works.
I had poked 4 holes in the mould where the pads were. Those four conical things. I didn't check to see because I did it when I was on the board, so I didn't run it through all the way when I flipped it over. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. Okay, that looks promising. but came out nice. Came out nice. Now, where's my gloves? The 4 pads came out nice. A little bit rough on the top, but I expect that. And also a little bit rough in the centre here. I was going to. I actually put a riser in the middle. I actually cut it out so it would rise up in the middle and feed this for shrinkage. But then I thought, how am I going to cut that lump of aluminium out? I wouldn't be able to get a saw blade in there, not enough room to go on any of those approaches. So I filled the hole back in, smoothed it out, levelled it, and then put those things in. But I'm very pleased with that indeed. Little bit of a shrinkage there, that's the only thing that happened. Everything else looks fine. So I'll clean this up. Sprue worked out fine. I actually poured a little bit slow. The theory was to keep that full at all times so it doesn't drag in air, and I was a little bit slow, but yeah, everything seemed alright. Pouring basin worked well. The gating system seemed to have worked pretty good. Alright, let's clean it up. As you can see, I've only just got enough room to get a hacksaw blade in for that little pit. There was no chance I was going to get a 22mm sprue in there, hence why I didn't get one. Very good. Well, this is the back plate for the 4-jaw chuck. 4-jaw chuck. If you notice, it's laying flat. I think I may have mentioned I didn't put the boss on the back here because okay, just a I didn't notice that piece out of it earlier. Oh well, I'm just going to put a taper on the end here just to pretty it up. I'm going to change this light so I can see something. I'll turn it around and do the same on the other end, because I've got both pieces in one here. will do, I will find the middle and part it off. And we'll part it off in the middle. A little bit more. So I'll just clean that up, dome it a little bit with the file, and I just got to thread the rod in the handle and we're finished. That's the 5mm rod that I have. Fits over nice. I've had to use the reamer to get it to fit over because just the straight drill size wasn't large enough. So let's just ream this out. Of course there's no tool in the tool holder. I don't want to cut my hands up coming back off the reamer. Let's see how that fits. They're a nice fit now. Oh, I'm dropping everything. I didn't set that up too well, did I? I started to machine this steel. I bought this a long time ago. Actually, that's the first piece. It's some sort of tool steel, I think. It won't. I can't. My die won't make a thread on it. So, if you notice, this one's a little bit blacker than that. I heated it. I don't know much about tool steels. I must do some more research. I heated it and it did soften up, but then the die just ripped the material, ripped the thread apart. It's just not working. So what I'm going to do is, this is another piece of it. I've reamed the holes out deeper. And I will glue it in place. Excuse me while I pick up the key. Try this again. And I will glue it in place. Should be okay. A little bit of movement there. That's what I'm after. So that's the chuck key for the 4-jaw chuck. So I will pull this apart again. That's it. And glue these handles on. See you later. For the 4-jaw chuck. If you notice, it's laying flat. I think I may have mentioned I didn't put the boss on the back here because I don't have a Gingery lathe. I have a Chinese mini lathe, and I need to adapt this to fit the Chinese mini lathe. So no boss, that's why it's flat on the back. What I've done first is drilled the 8 holes, 4 in the pad, 4 in between the pads as he instructs on the same PCD, and a 9th hole in the middle. I've used this, I will use this as a template to drill and tap first these 4 in between holes, and I think, I'm not too sure whether that's a clearance hole for 5/16, not too sure, I can't remember, but what I've got underneath is the adapter plate. So this adapter plate has to bolt to the back of this, and then 3 studs coming out of this to go into the headstock, the spindle, headstock spindle. So what I plan to do is use this orange plate. My mind goes off. So, okay, normally this would have a boss in the middle here, and four heads of bolts would poke out. Well, that's not going to work for me because I've got this plate to go on there. So the 4 bolts, which are the ones in between the pads, these ones, they are bolts that go through and screw into, no, the ones in the pads go through and screw into the front plate. So they also will have to go, these are the pads, 1, 2, 3, 4. The bolts will go through this plate, through this, up into the front plate. That's right. That's on the pads, yes. The other 4, at the present moment, the in-between 2 will be used to hold this to the surface plate, face plate I should say, hold this to the face plate so I can machine the outside edge, and machine the faces of these pads down to 3/4 of an inch, 20 mil. That's what the 2 of those will be for. Eventually all 4 get threaded to take set screws which will push on the back of the jaw nuts. It's part of the machining process. We'll cover that when we get to do it. So those, and they're only temporary. It's only for part of the machining. So they don't get used as part of the chuck, but they get used as part of the machining process of this plate, and also the machining process of the nuts, jaw nuts on the front plate. So these will be threaded 5/16, or in my case M8. Yep, we're going right. So they have to be, these are the 4 in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They're just clearance holes for M8. So they're 8 mil holes. Yes. Then I need, so we've got the pads, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 4 intermediate holes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 3 holes for to bolt up to the spindle. 1, 2, 3. So what I'm doing, what I've done here is not necessarily the exact spot on. This is just to give me an idea of where all these holes are going to be, and whether I have room for all of these holes. Now there's extra holes. Oh, I see what I've done here. These outside ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're there to bolt this plate to the back plate. So there will be 8 bolts that will physically hold this plate to the back plate. The 4 through bolts that will attach the plate, the back plate to the front plate, and then 4 permanent little M4s, 1, 2, 3, 4, they'll hold the plate itself to the back plate. They're permanent. So if you pull the whole thing apart, the plate will still be attached to the back plate by these outside 4. There'll be little M4 countersunk. So hopefully I've got enough room to do all this. So this is just to map out, make sure all these holes aren't going to interfere with each other, and they're not. So the process now is to start drilling at least these 9 holes, 8 outer peripheries and the centre one, to get those in the right place. And then I can machine the back of that off. That will be my first machine process. So mount this to the face plate and machine this off. Or actually what I might do is machine this, put that to the face plate and machine these down first, because I know these are not perfectly, it's cast, but they're not, it's not level. This plate, this back surface is cast, but it is level, so I'll mount that to the face plate first and then machine these off. Then I can turn that around and machine the back off.